What's up, everybody? This is my first attempt at trying to make a drink called the Old Fashioned. I'm normally a vodka drinker, just from in the clubs, and a poor vodka drinker at that. I just recently stepped up my game a little bit to the more expensive vodkas, but if you put them all in a row, I wouldn't be able to tell you which one was which. Except in the morning, depending on the hangover, I noticed with the more expensive vodka, I didn't have as much of a hangover. And that's probably because I couldn't afford as much expensive vodka to get a hangover. Go figure. But anyways, I said, hey, you know what? I want to, instead of getting these girly drinks, because, you know, fucking Cape Cod. I mean, the fuck. Anyways, you know, these drinks that were keeping my vagina clean, I needed some drinks that were going to actually hopefully grow some hair on my balls. So I said, you know what? I'm going to get down with the brown and try whiskey out. And I had a drink. Some people told me what kind of drink maybe you might want to try. And one of the drinks that came to mind was an Old Fashioned. So I looked on the internet, like, well, when you order Old Fashioned, they typically ask you, well, what kind of whiskey do you want? And then the jig is up, because then you're like, oh, fuck, you know, I just wanted to sound fancy ordering the drink. So I looked on the internet, and I'm still fucking confused. But for the most part, I think it's like there's whiskey is... Bourbon is always whiskey, but whiskey isn't always bourbon, because whiskey can be rye, it could be blended, so on and so forth. And from what I've heard, it's, you know, like whiskey, like if you were to say whiskey in the same classification as beer, beer is the mother, you know, and then you've got like IPAs and porters and bocks and all of that. But with whiskey, you've got bourbon, which is primarily, it's got to be mixed with 51%, at least 51% of it has to be made of corn. And then for rye, it has to be like 51% of it has to be of a rye mash. And then you have like Scotch, which is essentially whiskey, but it's done in Scotland. And then blended whiskeys and Canadian whiskeys and Irish whiskeys, and the list goes on. Well, anyways, we're here to make an Old Fashioned, and an Old Fashioned, while a lot of the times it's made with bourbon, and I think the times I've had it have been with bourbon, but I don't know. I honestly don't fucking know. And I'm about to find out, because I for sure bought a rye whiskey today. I didn't want to spend a whole hell of a lot of money on it. I went to Specs, got a Bullet Rye. I went online, and this was in a top 10 list of whiskeys under $35. I don't have a great palate for it yet anyway, so what the fuck am I going to know between a $20 bottle of whiskey and a $200 bottle of scotch? I don't fucking know. I just know that this is supposed to be a little bit more spicier, which is going to be interesting, because my wife likes, I think, a little bit more on the sweet side. So I've got some other things to kind of counterbalance that, to give her some of that sweetness. But, so anyways, I'm just going to, I thought I had everything prepared, but I didn't, so I need to open up this bottle of whiskey. But anyways, so, you know, I looked online, and man, there's some real snobby fucking people when it comes to making whiskey. Are making an Old Fashioned, real snooty. Like, there's some forums on there, you know, just like giving bartenders hell, like, what the fuck, why would you muddle an orange, or why would you put a fucking cherry in there, and all of that, you know, elitist, real fucking motherfucking elitist. So in other words, there's a shit ton of ways to make one, but I think the consensus was, when they first did it, they did it with rye wheat. And I wish I knew why. But anyway, so just open that bitch up. So what the recipe calls for is a sugar cube, bitters, whiskey, water, and that's what an old-fashioned is. A cocktail used to be made up of bitters, sugar, water, and your spirit, and it just so happened the spirit became whiskey. So that's what we're gonna do. My wife got me this really cool tumbler for whiskey glasses. I'm gonna do it basically like how the recipe I've seen online a dozen times, and see if we can get it. I'm gonna start off with the sugar cube. I'm gonna place the sugar cube here. Let me get a better angle of that. I'm gonna place do that again. I'm gonna place the sugar cube inside the glass, and then it calls for a couple of dashes of bitters, which I have right here. At first when I read it, I thought it said 2 to 3 drops, but they're saturating that sugar cube pretty well. God, I hope that wasn't too much. I don't think it was. And then this other guy like swore by this, like, you gotta put orange bitters in it. So I'm gonna put some orange bitters in it. I hope that wasn't too much. And then it calls for some water. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna muddle this sugar cube. You can do it with simple syrup. What the fuck's my mother? You can do it with simple syrup, but I kind of like the idea of the muddling action here. Now apparently, you're supposed to be able to get it to like a clear liquid on the bottom. You want to get all those granules. You don't want to get like a tea effect. You know, I don't know how long it's supposed to take. I've never muddled a sugar cube into a glass to try to create my own simple syrup comprised of basically bitters, water, and sugar. Said it might take a while, and if you have technique, I don't think my technique is good because it's my first time. But I still feel it kind of, yeah, you see, I'm not convinced that I did that all the way through. Part of it, I think, is because I use cold water. I really debated about the, should have fucking just used regular warm water. Anyways, well, I didn't. And this is your fucking result. There's a boring ass video of me muddling some bullshit. Oh, well, hey. Hold up. Maybe I was being too hard on myself, because I think I got that bitch clear. Anyhow, bam, muddle complete. The next step has some controversy behind it, whether or not you're going to muddle an orange. So what the story was behind that was, like, if you it's my Mr. Potato Head peeler, oranges and cherries, like that kind of garnish and shit like that, that was typically for if the whiskey or the spirit didn't taste that good. That makes sense. That makes sense, because they were like trying to cover up the taste of it. Well, anyways, so they're trying to cover up the taste of that drink, but there's so many different ways to make this drink, with a cherry, without a cherry. I'm trying to, like, there we go. I think that's a good one. Well, anyways, you're supposed to, like, dump it in there and then, like, muddle it to kind of, like, release the oils of the orange inside the drink. smells really good. So now we've done that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my ice. I'm really disappointed about the ice situation. I bought these big ice cubes, and I didn't know how long they were going to take to create. We probably put them in there about 2 hours ago. And unfortunately, they're not fucking ready, right? Fuck me, right? Anyways, all good. Okay. We'll just use regular ice. That's pretty good. Now we're gonna put a 2 ounces of whiskey. It's starting to look pretty good. Ooh. That's what I did for my lovely wife, was I got the cherries. Because it calls for what they call a flag. Alright, well there you go. I think I got it. Let's taste it. Oh. God damn. That's pretty strong. I'm gonna have to work on that. Ooh. Well, okay.